Ready to open the hood? Usetool for the tutorials.
And for car parts, the right idea is the Mr. Auto app. Easy, fast, and with better prices than on the website.
You will find the bulk shock absorbers used in the video exclusively on the Mr. Auto website and through the link in the description. Turn your engine off. Pull up the handbrake. Pull on the bonnet release lever and open the bonnet. To disassemble the front shock absorbers, it is first important to remove the windscreen bay and the windscreen wipers. Before removing the windscreen wipers, place adhesive tape in order to keep a precise indication of their location at the end position. This will make it possible to correctly position them when reassembling. Remove the nut covers from the wiper arms and using a ratchet and a 14-gauge socket, loosen the nuts. Remove the windscreen wiper arms by making small movements up and down. If they're not coming out, we recommend taking windscreen wiper remover to facilitate the process. Next, using a pry bar, remove the 4 plastic rivets from the windscreen frame. Lift the windscreen frame and disconnect the washer pump fluid hose. Now remove the windshield frame. Using a pry bar, remove the protective cover from the strut mount fronts. Brush the suspension strut support bearing retaining nut and the strut mount front nut and spray them with penetrating oil. Then, using a ratchet, a 17mm socket and a 6mm Allen socket, unscrew the nut on the top strap mount by a few threads. You can also use the specific tool used in the video, which will make your task much easier. Using a 14mm spanner, unscrew the 3 halting nuts on the shock absorber by a few threads in order to create some slack for the next manipulations. Loosen the stud bolts on the front wheels. Lift the front of the vehicle. We strongly suggest watching the tutorial, raising your vehicle safely before carrying out this step. Place the vehicle on the axle stands. You must remove the wheels in order to change the front shock absorbers on your car. This will give you full access to the suspension system. Don't forget to slide them under the vehicle. During this operation, you will work on the front end of your car. An alignment check carried out by a professional will ensure that your steering system is once again perfectly adjusted and functioning. You now have to remove the upper bolt from the sway bar link. To do this, we recommend watching the video How to Replace the Sway Bar Links C2. Using a 12mm spanner, unscrew the ABS sensor mounting bracket. Using a 12mm spanner, unscrew the brake hose mounting bracket. Then remove it. Brush the 2 screws of the shock absorber base and spray them with degreaser. Using a socket wrench, an 18mm socket and a 17mm spanner, unscrew the 2 screws on the shock absorber base. Remove the screws from the shock absorber base. You can use a pin punch to help remove them. Raise the front axle slightly using a jack to hold the weight of the disc. The base of the shock absorber should now be free. Finish unscrewing the shock absorber retaining nuts. Disconnect the shock absorber base from the stub axle. Remove the shock absorber. In order to change the shock absorber, you must now separate it from the spring. You can find in the description the tool we used in the video, which we think is most adapted to the operation. Careful! Pay attention as you compress the spring. This is not without risk and should be undertaken paying very careful attention. Install the shock absorber on the tool, then tighten the mobile flange against the spring, controlling its position carefully. Check that they're properly held by the locking studs, then slowly compress the spring using the socket wrench and the appropriate socket. Once the shock absorber is free in the spring, you can loosen the suspension strut support bearing with a 17mm offset wrench and a 6mm Allen key. Then remove the suspension strut support bearing components. Remove the shock absorber from the spring.
Okay, guys, if we can share this video with you and help you save a lot of money, is also thanks to our partner, Mr. Auto. So, if you want to support us and buy the part for this operation, visit their website. Okay, back to work.
You will find the bulk, parts and products used in the video on the Mr. Auto site and in the link in the description. Before installing the new shock absorbers, it is necessary to prime them by pressing the shock absorber rod vertically so that the gas and the hydraulic fluid are separated. Unscrew the lock nut on the stem. Recover the lower spring retainer. Install it on the shock absorber. Position everything in the spring. Put the stop plate in place. Unscrew the support bearing nuts. And install the sleeve on the support bearing. Install the sleeve support bearing assembly on the shock absorber. And finish by screwing on the lock nut onto the shock absorber stem. Tighten firmly using a 17mm socket or the special tool that holds the shock absorber rod. Pay careful attention to place the bottom of the spring so that it supports the shock absorber flange. Unscrew the spring compression tool, paying attention to the position of the spring on the lower shock absorber support. You have now finished preparing the new part. Put the new shock absorber in place using the upper part. Roughly retighten the nuts holding the suspension strut support bearing. Grease the area where the stub axle is in contact with the shock absorber. Grease the bottom of the shock absorber too. Thread the shock absorber into the stub axle. Then put the shock absorber base screws back in place. Roughly tighten the nuts. Tighten the nuts with a torque spanner. screw the ABS sensor cable mounting bracket back on. Reinstall the brake hose retainer. Put the sway bar link back in place. Finish off the tightening with a torque wrench. Then you will be able to put the wheels back on your vehicle, put your car back on the ground, and block the wheels securely. The final tightening of the 3 strut support bearing retaining nuts is done with the vehicle on the ground and with a torque spanner. Finalise the tightening of the shock absorber head with a torque wrench. Put the rubber cover back on. Pass the washer pump fluid hose through the windscreen frame and reconnect it. Put the windscreen bay back in place. Put the plastic rivets back in place. Reassemble the windscreen wiper arms without exaggerating when tightening them in place. Operation completed.
Hi, it's Theo from Usetool. I hope this video has helped you a lot in your car maintenance. We would be super grateful if you could spread the word so that we can produce even more tutorials. Simply give us a like, a comment, and hit that subscribe button. It really helps us boost the channel and help the whole community. Thanks a lot and have a great one.